Alright, you're here, I'm here. I'm ATQ for ATQ Entertainment Studios. This is 16 Personalities. The last time I done this was in 2020, November 21st. It is December 24th, so it's been a few tads over the 1 year mark. I've decided that I will be doing 16 personalities quiz one time each year because I am curious as a statistician if I've changed in any way. Nearly a year ago, more than a year ago, when I first done this was the result I got. I was a logistician. ISTJ. And you could pause the video if you want to read what a logistician does. I really like the 16 personalities quiz. I feel that it is the best personality quiz out there. The answers that you give for the questions, the algorithms which determine the result you get is scary accurate for the most part. I'm not gonna go to the strengths and weaknesses right now. Some people you may know. I know some of them, but we're gonna take the test. Man, this has been a year down the road. Alright, let's see if I've changed in any way. I am curious. You regularly make new friends. Keyword being regularly. Oh wait, can you change the answer? Oh, you can. Okay, I thought once it faded out that you couldn't change it. So, yeah, I'm probably around here. Because it says regularly. You spend a lot of free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. I'm not sure what this word means. This, I say... Various random topics. This is probably going to be right around here. I'm not really that open to various random topics. Like every once in a while, maybe I will, so that's the reasoning for that. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. Alright, this is a tough question. For me, it depends on what others are crying about. If it's for something pretty ridiculous, I probably won't. But immediately what I thought about this after reading it was that if I see someone crying, even though I don't know the reason, I feel like if I begin to cry from that I am not going to be strong. Because people don't typically cry for no reason or out of the blue. So in this case, knowing nothing, I most likely will not cry. And this, I'll have to say, this is I don't give 100%, but this is near like 90+%. So this I will say agree. Oh, I read it wrong. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel... Oh, okay, no. I went the wrong way. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. I've never really thought about this, being straight up. I am the planning type of person. Backup plan for a backup plan. Well, if there's really a plan that has so many outcomes, I guess it's necessary. But it says you often make, meaning making it. This is going to be a neutral. I don't know where to go from there. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. Yeah, this is around 90% plus. So basically these are by 33%. So this is like 0 to 33, 33 to 66, 66 to 100. At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. This is so true. But when I go to a social event, I don't remember the last time I went to a social. What is a social event? Like talking? An event where you talk? This is going to be. Rarely try to introduce yourself. So that means this way. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Wow, I forgot how brutal the questions were. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. So this is a multitasking type question. For the most part, one thing at a time is the mindset. This is going to be an agree. You are very sentimental. Alright, hold on a second. This is the point where I have to actually look up words because I'm not 100% sure I know what sentimental means. I believe it means like emotional. Let me do a quick search. Oh, okay, so this is like being upset or something like that. So it's emotion, but it's the bad side of it. I'm a very neutral person, so this is very sentimental, meaning very sad. If it just said you are sentimental, I would be in the middle, but it says very sentimental. This I'll have to lean a little bit towards disagree. I'm more in the middle, neither happy or sad most of the time. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. I don't know, like physically, schedules or lists, a lot of it is in my head. Organizing is a quality of mine. This I will say probably. Well, obviously you can't possibly schedule or list anything because anything could come your way. So this I'm going to go with this. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. Small mistake. I'm gonna go right here. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Well, walking up to someone you find interesting is the easy part. The hard part for me is striking up a conversation. And when you walk up to someone, this is the purpose for it. This I'm going to go with, which is someone I find interesting. That's the key word here. Interesting. I'm leaning in between one of these two. If I want to be straight up, I'm not sure which one I'm going to lean towards. Find interesting. I want to go here. That's tough. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretation and analysis of creative works. You are not too interested in discussing various interpretation and analysis of creative works. This is a trick. I don't quite understand the statement here. Discussing, so talking about various interpretations and work. It's hard for me to answer this because I'm not sure if I really follow what it's saying. Not too interested. I'm going to say I want to say this. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. Inclined to follow your head than your heart. Here's another thing which I'm not sure what it means. Is it saying something like intuition versus gut? With the head being intuition and heart being gut? I am going to say this is true, and I want to lean more towards that being true. I do use my head more than my heart. Depending on what you think about that, it could be good or bad. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. At any moment. This will be that. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. So people you meet, it doesn't say friends, so these are strangers then. You rarely worry about whether you make... Rarely worry. Rarely worry. So, wait, if I do worry, that means it's a disagree. But it says rarely worry. Oh, no. Rarely worry is, if you agree, is the true. So it would be this way. I do worry. It scares me. I am going to say this because it's new people. You enjoy participating in group activities. It's broad. It's broad, and that's what bothers me. It's too broad. You enjoy participating in group activities. And I don't know about that. Now I will have to say disagree because of how broad it is. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. So open-ended, basically. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. So imagination is what I'm getting out of this question? No, mostly disagree. Your happiness comes from more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishment. Helping others accomplish things than you. Well, here's the thing about this. I firmly believe that as much as this may sound selfish, you can't really help others without helping yourself first. So for that, this is going to be around here, a disagree. It's great to help others, but your first priority should be yourself. So that's a disagree there. You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. This is going to be slightly agree. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worse. Agree. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. This is brutal. I do believe that one quality is good that I have is leadership. In a group setting, once again, it's broad. It doesn't tell very much about that group part. Would I avoid in a group setting? Probably not. But it is shared. I'm a very mutual person, so this I'm going to go with slightly disagree. You are definitely not an artistic type of person. That is so incorrect. Artistic type of person is expressive type of person. You think the world would be better placed if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings. This I'm going to go neutral. Not sure about what I think about that. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. I can be considered a perfectionist by some and someone that doesn't like to sleep and likes to work or be doing something all the time. So, would I prefer to do chores before allowing myself to relax? This is mainly a agree. You enjoy watching people argue. Depends what we're arguing about, but I don't. It's really an odd statement here. Do I enjoy? I mean, like, it's way better to have people not argue. I was gonna go all the way, but if people just agree with everything, that is really boring. So I'm just gonna go with this. It's not a good thing, I don't think. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. This is agree, actually. It's around these two. It could be slightly or it could be in the middle. Yeah, I'm gonna go here. Your mood can change very quickly. Well, this is partially true. I can change mood really quickly, but once again, I must reiterate that I'm a very neutral person. There are very few circumstances where I may go from neutral all the way to a red mood really fast. So this statement is true, but in occurrence, it doesn't happen often. So this is going to be half and half disagree. You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. Ooh, this is a juicy question. Lose patience with people. I have a lot of patience for most cases. When it comes to efficiency, dang, that's one way for me to lose patience. This is going to be a slightly agree. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. This is going to be, it's in between these two. Last possible moment. I feel in comparison to the past, I've gotten more disciplined, organized in those type of traits. So doing things in the last possible moment is almost non-existent at this point. So I'm going to go with majority disagree. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. So this is an afterlife question. This is middle agree. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. Well, I tend to be alone a lot in a low stimulation environment. So when it comes to, you usually prefer to be around others than on your own. This is going to be, I don't know, it's between these two. It doesn't necessarily say friends, so since it doesn't say that, I'm just going to be right there. I'm going to keep that. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. This is going to be a slightly agree. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experience are very different from yours. Empathize with a person whose experience are very different from yours. This is gonna be a neutral. I'm not sure what to think about that. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. This is going to be, yeah, I think that's a good spot right there in the disagree. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made. Rarely second guess, meaning afterthoughts. Well, I generally put a lot of thought into it, such as my words. I choose my words very carefully. So the odds of me second guessing is not that common. So rarely second guess. I'm gonna go with slightly agree. Yeah. Okay. After a long and exhausting week, a lively social event is what you need. Well, I also need sleep. Let's not forget about that. But that's not what's asking. This is a lively social event. This will be a slightly agree. You enjoy going to art museums. On my own, that's going to be around this. With someone else, possibly a date, that could be a different story. But on my own, it doesn't mention with who, but it says just you. So that's probably just one person, meaning me. That's going to be a mostly disagree. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. Well, here's the problem about this. I don't like to assume anything anymore. Back then, maybe half a decade ago, I still assumed some things. I've realized since last year it's not a good idea to assume anything. So when it comes to having a hard time understanding other people's feelings, that is, if they don't say anything, it's gonna give me a hard time. This is gonna be a mostly agree, not fully, but you like to have a to-do list for each day. I currently don't have plans because I'm gapping a year for college institution / university. So this is going to be a neutral. You rarely feel insecure. This is going to be slightly agree. You avoid making phone calls. Phone calls for me are pretty scary, but it's for me to make phone calls. For me, when it comes to phone calls and texts, for every 5 texts equals 1 phone call, I probably do make more texts than phone calls. But when it comes to avoiding making it, if it's something that I have to call about, it's going to happen nevertheless. So when it comes to avoiding, this is going to be a slightly disagree because it will happen if it's that important. Sometimes things are better through actual voice than to just read from text. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. Spend a lot of time understanding views. This is going to be a slightly agree. In your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. This is mainly agree. If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. This is going to be... Wait, your top priority? Oh, okay, hold on. It's going to be in between these two then, if it's top priority. I want to go with this one, though. You are still bothered by the mistakes that you made a long time ago. This is half and half agree. You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life. This is going to be an agree as well. Your emotions control you more than you control them. To many people that view me, I don't really show emotions on the outside. I usually internalize it. I'm a very neutral person. That's just my personality, my mindset. So when it says here, your emotions control you more than you control them, this is going to be more towards a disagree. Because it's not true. You take great care not to make people look bad even when it is completely their fault. Oh. This is a tough question. This is going to be a slightly agree. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. It's going to be a slightly disagree. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. It's going to be an agree. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time. Would I love a job that requires me to work alone most of the time? Most of the time. So we're talking about most of the time, 60% plus. I don't know about this. I really don't know. It's in between neutral or agree. I am going to go with slightly agree. You believe that pondering abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. I don't know what this question's asking. Abstract philosophical questions. I'm not sure what it's asking. I am going to go with slightly disagree, but I'm not sure what it's asking. So, okay, whatever. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. This is gonna be that. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. Wow, this is like psychic stuff. First glance to know how someone's feeling. That's gonna be that. Well, hold on a second. One look at someone to know how someone's feeling. If we consider me and how I'm a neutral person and I don't really show emotions or feelings on the outside, this is going to be a strongly disagree. You often feel overwhelmed. It's going to be a slightly agree. You complete things methodically, so in order without skipping over any steps. It's mostly true. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. Very intrigued? I don't know about very intrigued. Maybe just intrigued, so I'm just going to be a slightly agree. You would pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone else needed it more. It would depend on what the opportunity is. But then also I mentioned earlier that you can't really help others without helping yourself first. This is going to be a neutral. You struggle with deadlines. This is a sometimes factor. This is a sometimes. It's going to be a disagree. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Well, if I believe in my faith, it's much easier that way. I am going to say this. Oh, that's 100%. Alright, let's see if I changed from an ISTJ or something like that. Well, logistician is what it was, so. I got the same exact thing as a whole year ago. The percentages are a bit different though. Let me pull up something. And I'll share the percentages. I can be sure that the percentages are going to be different even though I got the same result, ISTJ. This is exactly what I got. So, give me a sec. No, that's not true. Give me a moment to pull it up. Okay. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So, introverted. Before it was 63%. This time it is not big of a change. In fact, I've gotten less introverted. To me, that's a good thing because I do not have many friends and companions. So that's a good sign for me. Observant. In the past, I was 62% observant. This took a dip, and this says 51% observant, and then 49% intuitive. I'm not sure if I like that this is nearly half and half. I think I liked the previous result a year ago when I was 62% observant. This is half and half, and this may as well drive me nuts about this result. Next up is the thinking. A year ago, I was 57% thinking. This, I am 66% thinking, so that's also a reasonable increase. Not as much as the last one for energy, but I can agree with that. I could tolerate that. Next up, tactics. So I was in the past judging 81%. This one didn't change too much. It's at 74% judging. And then last one is identity. This one is another half and half. So a year ago I was 63% assertive. This one I'm more half and half at 51%. So that took a huge dip as well. Interesting. Okay, let's read my profile. Before we move on to your profile, would you like a copy of your results emailed to you? Sure. Oh, okay. It's gonna ask me for this. I will enter that later. So we're back here where we started off in the beginning. I didn't show the strengths and the weaknesses. I paused so that you could read this page. Let's take a look at the strengths and weaknesses now. Oh, and by the way, I also got Sentinel as well, and confident individualism as well. Alright, let's have a read of it. So, honest and direct, integrity is the heart of the logistician personality type. Emotional manipulation, mind games, and reassuring lies all run counter to logisticians' preference for managing the reality of the situations they encounter with plain and simple honesty. That matches me. Strong-willed and dutiful, logisticians embody that integrity in their actions too, working hard and staying focused on their goals. Patient and determined people with the logistician personality type meet their obligations, period. That is also true of me. Very responsible logistician's word is a promise, and a promise means everything. Logisticians would rather run themselves into the ground with extra days and lose sleep than fail to deliver the results they said they would. Loyalty is a strong sentiment for logistician personalities, and they fulfill their duties to the people and organizations they've committed themselves to. Very well said. Very well said. I couldn't think of what to say about that unless I really put too much effort into it. This explains it really well. Next up, calm and practical. None of their promises would mean much if logisticians lost their tempers and broke down at every sign of hardship. It actually happened to me just recently. I was at rock bottom. Anyway, they kept their feet on the ground and make clear, rational decisions. People's preferences are a factor to consider in this process, and logisticians work to make the best use of individual qualities, but these decisions are made with effectiveness in mind more so than empathy. The same applies to criticism for others and themselves. Yep. Create and enforce order. The primary goal of any logistician is to be effective in what they've chosen to do, and they believe that this is accomplished best when everyone involved knows exactly what is going on and why. Unclear guidelines and people who break established rules undermine this effort and are rarely tolerated by logisticians. Structure and rules foster dependability. Chaos creates unforeseen setbacks and missed deadlines. Right on. Jacks of all trades. Much like analysts, personality types, which I also am, logisticians are proud repositories of knowledge. Through the emphasis is more on facts and statistics than concepts and underlying principles. This allows logisticians to apply themselves to a variety of situations, picking up and analyzing new data and grasping the details of challenging situations as a matter of course. Weaknesses. Hello. Never thought I'd see you again. Stubborn. I can be stubborn. Not all the time, but let's see what this has to say before I make any more statements about that. The facts are the facts, and logisticians tend to resist any new idea that isn't supported by them. Ooh, well said. To resist any new idea. If it just said that, yeah. But it says that isn't supported by them. That is so true. I would normally also reject new ideas if it wasn't supported by at least something. This factual decision-making process also makes it difficult for people with the logistician personality type to accept that they were wrong about something, but anyone can miss a detail even then. Difficult for people with my personality type to accept if they were wrong. Unless if it is not supported by them, that is spot on. I can have difficulty in realizing that I was incorrect about something. Insensitive. While not intentionally harsh, which is true, I'm not intentionally harsh as well, logisticians often hurt more sensitive type feelings by the simple mantra that honesty is the best policy. Logistician personalities may take emotions into consideration, but really only so far as to determine the most effective way to say what needs to be said. This weakness of mine is so noticeable when it comes to meeting, for me, females. Not saying all females are insensitive or not, but this is evident in that case that other people notice about me is this. They can most commonly see this weakness in that situation for me. Always by the book. Logisticians believe that things work best with clearly defined rules, but this makes them reluctant to bend those rules or try new things, even when the downside is minimal. Truly unstructured environments leave logisticians all but paralyzed. Yeah, well, if you didn't know this about me, I love engineering. I want to be an engineer, specifically mechanical engineering. So, I've also taken some interest in civil engineering and architecture. This is so true. Things that are unstructured, not organized, or things alike will, as this points out, leave me paralyzed and almost speechless. Judgmental. Opinions are opinions and facts are facts, and logisticians are unlikely to respect people who disagree with those facts, or especially those who remain willfully ignorant of them. I have nothing to say about that because that is also correct about me. Often unreasonably blame themselves. More about me. Great. All this can combine to make logisticians believe they are the only ones who can see projects through reliably, as they load themselves with extra work and responsibilities, turning away good intentions and helpful ideas. Logisticians sooner or later hit a tipping point where they simply can't deliver. Since they've heaped the responsibility on themselves, logisticians then believe the responsibility for failures is theirs alone to bear. That is also like me. I set very high standards of myself, and that adds on to of others. So when I can't meet expectations, whether it's myself or for others, I will have the tendency to apologize, mention guilt, and also mention burden. That was for strengths and weaknesses. Next up, one of the features which I am most interested at this point, because I seek a romantic relationship with a woman. Let's see what this has to say. Being introverted and male is definitely difficult, so I'm very interested to see what this has to say about my type of person. Logisticians are dependable through and through, and this trait is clearly expressed when it comes to their romantic relationships, often representing the epitome of family values. People with the logistician personality type are comfortable with and often even encourage traditional household and gender roles, and look to a family structure guided by clear expectations and honesty. While their reserved nature often makes dating logisticians challenging, I just lost where I was. Oh, they are truly dedicated partners, willing to devote tremendous thought and energy to ensure stable and mutually satisfying relationships. Yeah, that is right on. I believe having a good family structure, well, first off, family structure, meaning you're going to start a family. I do believe a good structure is important because then it can be passed on to your kids. If it's unstructured, it would leave me paralyzed. It would make me feel that I failed my children because I'm not seen as someone they could trust, or a leader, or a parent, or a father. So if it's unguided structure, I would feel that I have failed my kids and my wife. I also like how it mentioned that it said that it's mutually satisfying relationships. I mentioned earlier, if I recall correctly, that I said that I'm a very mutual person as well. Deeply committed. Blind dates and random hookups are not logisticians' preferred methods for finding potential partners. The risk and unpredictability of these situations has logisticians alarm bells ringing, and being dragged out for a night of dancing at the club just isn't going to happen. Logistician personalities much prefer more responsible, conservative methods of dating, such as dinner with an interested coworker, or in their more adventurous moods, a setup organized through a mutual friend. I should mention that dating apps, right? This is the portion where dating apps is relevant. I have thought about trying dating apps, but my instinct told me, after I first of all did research and then took thought into that method of dating, that there are not great people that will steal your information from there. A lot of the dating apps and websites do not conduct background checks, and that is really scary to me. It is dangerous and it's not safe. So after a while thinking about the dating apps, I never even got started. Logisticians approach relationships, as with most things, from a rational perspective, looking for compatibility and the mutual satisfaction of daily and long-term needs. This isn't a process that logisticians take lightly, and once commitments are established, they stick to their promises to the very end, till death, basically. Logisticians establish foundations, fulfill their responsibilities, and keep their relationships functional and stable. This is talking about romantic relationships, but this is also true for my group of people, my relations with other close people. I started when I first formed Yukon State, which is a fictional roleplay regime / country, that one of the ministries or departments this was actually the first ministry or department. It was actually a department now that I recall. The first department formed as part of like government type stuff was the Department of Communications and Social Services, and that department was to do what this says here: keep their relationships functional and stable. So that's the social aspect, and that's what that department was formed for. As their relationships transition into the long term, logisticians gladly see to the necessary daily tasks around the house, applying the same sense of duty to their home life that they do in the workplace. While this may not translate into particularly exotic, intimate lives, logisticians are dependable lovers who want very much for their partners to remain satisfied. It takes patience on the part of more adventurous partners, but if different activities can be demonstrated as equally or more enjoyable than those already within logisticians' comfort zones, they are perfectly capable of trying something new. Well said there. This is very important to me for my woman of choice. This is one of the top priorities for them to remain satisfied, because I've made this statement before. It's not the first time I've said this, but I've said to many people, not necessarily romantic relationships, but to both sexes, and that's that if you're happy, I'm happy, and this really remains true to me today. However, emotional satisfaction can be another matter. While logisticians are able to provide surprisingly good emotional support, I couldn't agree less. This only happens when they realize that it's necessary, and there's the rub. Logisticians are not naturally receptive to others' emotions, not unless they are stated clearly, and a partner usually only says, "I'm angry," when it's too late to address the initial grievance. A reliable heart. People with the logistician personality type can get so caught up in the belief in their correctness in winning arguments they thought were about facts that they don't realize their partner may have viewed things from a perspective of consideration and sensitivity. Especially with more sensitive partners, oh boy, this can be a huge challenge for the relationship. Yeah, that will worry me. Ultimately, though, logisticians' sense of responsibility and dedication set the tone, and they spared no effort in noting to this distinction moving forward. The consequences have been demonstrated as real. While logisticians' staid approach may seem boring to some, yeah, I could see why some people may think it's boring, there is an undeniable attractiveness to it. Through felt perhaps more by respect and admiration than emotional passion, logistician shells hide a strong and quiet determination and reliability rare among other personality types, which can benefit even the flightiest personalities, allowing them to stay connected to the real world while still exploring new territory. Partners who share the observant S trait are the best fit for I have such difficulty with that. For logistician personalities with one of two opposing traits to create balance and to expand, logisticians sometimes overly isolate world, such as partners with extroverted E or prospecting P traits. I liked how I laughed here because it's I look strong on the outside, but in the inside, I'm really a softie. And I just liked how it said shells. like I'm a tortoise here or a turtle. Yeah, I really am soft on the inside. If you eventually notice that about me. Friendships. Logisticians' friends are not spontaneous. They are not talkative or particularly playful in their affection. What logisticians' friends are is loyal, trustworthy, honorable, and dependable. Others may come come and go with the ups and downs of life, but logisticians stay by their friends' sides no matter what, with a deepness of commitment that other types may not even believe is possible. Yeah, I question the dependable portion here, but those other three, they're okay. But this was the one that I worry the most about, because this is, as of right now, where I'm at right now, this is two big question marks because it doesn't show. The gift of loyalty. Logisticians are a very methodical personality type, and this loyalty isn't given away lightly. That is so damn true. Often slow to make. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I don't have many friends, and I have, like what I mentioned, high standards. Logisticians usually end up with a smaller circle, but they consider they consider that circle to represent a promise to be there for the people they care about, and logisticians' promises are not easily broken. Yeah. Expressing emotional affection isn't one of logisticians' stronger skills, but they nevertheless find ways to show it. Like a detective. As Socrates said, to be is to do, and logisticians follow through their willingness to take action as a show of support stands in for their words. These actions convey a sensitivity that many fail to see, but it is a quality that logistician friends come to admire and depend on in the long years of their friendships. But all of this sounds terribly serious, and indeed it only shows one side of logisticians and their approach to their relationships. The other side knows how to stop being quite so staid, and especially in the company of joyful and talkative extroverts, logisticians enjoy relaxing and having fun with good discussion about work, life, and current events. People with the logistician personality type don't like conflict. Well, I'm not gonna. Okay, fine. I'll mention it. I was thinking when I saw the word conflict about war, like actual war with other nations, but this is about friendships, and I'm not a president, so that is sort of irrelevant here. But I just thought I had to say that because that's where my mind took me. But it's true, yeah, I don't like conflict, but having no conflict at all will drive me nuts. Just bear mentioning. And this applies to how they select their friends as well. Yeah, that's also true. I don't like to make friends that would make me and them have to go out to a shouting match and assert that way. So definitely not the person that wants conflict. Seeking out friends with similar principles and opinions, logisticians most often befriend other sentinel personalities who are likely to share their perspectives and world vision. While they are unlikely to become friends with substantially different types, it takes too much energy to bridge the communication gap. Logistician personalities will recognize and appreciate others' strengths and qualities. The communication gap for me is much larger than other people of my type. For a whole decade now, since I was in primary school, third grade level, I realized that English language arts is my least favorite subject. It still is my least favorite subject today. So that is a struggle for me. Better together. In fact, as if to prove the point, logisticians almost always have at least one intuitive and friend in their inner circle. N. Hold on a second. That was one of the half and half, right? What was the N? N. ISTJ. What was the... Wait, hold on a second. Let's see. N. Intuitive. Okay, so intuitive. That's this. I'm half and half on this one. Okay, yeah, I thought I saw that this was half and half. It was one of the half and half, so okay. Friend in their inner circle. Despite the disconnect the two perspectives bring, well, I'm in the middle, so like it's probably not too disconnecting. These are very much relationships built not on mutual understanding, but out of respect for their mutual differences. Logisticians marvel at intuitives' breadth of thought, being very much in tune with their own intelligence, while intuitives admire logisticians' realism and dependability, something they are often hard-pressed to find in themselves. Knowledge, as always, is the greater equalizer. Parenthood. This is going to be interesting. As parents... Oh, okay. Parenthood. I didn't read it carefully. I thought this meant my relationship with my parents. Okay, so as parents, peoples with the logistician personality type are often the most comfortable. That's a question mark right there. Their sense of responsibility and honor blends well with a tradition that has been in place since time immemorial to raise one child to be respected, contributing members of home and society. As with most commitments, logisticians do not take their roles as parents lightly. That is very true of me. I wouldn't take it lightly either. And will make it their work to ensure that this tradition is upheld to the high... My exact words come back to bite me. Highest standard. That's right. My kids better have that mentality that they're number one unless they do not make it so. This doesn't always come easily for their children, though, as logisticians tend to be strict with high standards and expectations. Oh boy. Hope my children will understand me quickly. Logistician personalities establish stable, clearly structured environments for their children, always with an eye on helping them to develop a sense of place in society and to fulfill useful roles. A clear sense of hierarchy is part of developing this identity, and logisticians work just as much to ensure an appropriate respect for authority as they do with family and societal structure. All this loyalty, devotion, and structure are of little use when logisticians' children need the warmth of emotional support. While logisticians can be sensitive towards those they care about in their own way, it's harder for younger children, and especially adolescents, to recognize this tough love for the love that it is. Yep, that is also me, because I do believe in tough love. Not just with kids, but also relevant towards my lover. Often, logisticians need to rely on more sensitive partners to fulfill this role and mediate between rational purpose and the more ethereal sense of emotional well-being. Leading by principle. People with the logistician personality type are strongly principled, valuing patience, hard work, qualities children often struggle with. Nevertheless, logisticians' children are expected to meet these standards and share these values for their own good. This approach often bears its fruit in the long run, but logisticians must keep in mind that their approach creates natural barriers and distance that often leave their children wondering if they're on the same team. Taken too far or with mutual stubbornness, this may even set in as a permanent state in the relationship, something both logistician parents and their children ultimately regret. I know I will. It is best for logisticians to embrace and hold to their own values, but to also recognize that each person has their own goals and to meet their children halfway in attaining theirs. Halfway is very reasonable to me, so I would accept this. Combining their natural devotion and purpose with this flexibility and support of their children's own vision leads to a sense of mutual respect and accomplishment that any logistician parent would be proud of. One example of this that I know that I will have so much disappointment, well, not complete disappointment, but being upset about and being taken as an insult is my children's school grades, because that's something I care about. Their grades is a very big important factor to their future, and I worry about that and I stress about that. My children may be very stressed in that aspect to perform well, but I also realize I have to understand why it may be that they're struggling in some fields, to say the least. Career paths. Does it say engineering? While many personality types may be comfortable with flexible work as consultants and sole proprietors, logisticians are more focused on building long-term stable careers. That's not to say that logisticians can't do that sort of work. Many find themselves thinking about what's on the other side of those cubicle walls, but what they crave is dependability, and that is wow, I just burped. That is reflected in their choice of work, perhaps more so than in any other part of their lives. A steadfast mind. The fact support this, as the most common careers among people with the logistician personality type revolve around institutions of respected tradition, authority, security, and established consistency. Careers such as military officers. I'm a military enthusiast and an imitation soldier, so makes sense. Lawyers. Man, being a lawyer is so tough nowadays. I don't think I would do it, but I could see others that are my type that could do that. Judges, likewise. Police officers and detectives are all very popular among logisticians. This makes sense, as they not only offer the stability that logisticians seek, but are in line with their principles and conservatism, establishing clear societal roles. Logisticians, of course, aren't limited to these organizations. There are many other roles that utilize their reliability, objectivity, and sharp eyes. I just went backwards. When facts and logics are out of place, logistician personalities swoop in as the accountants, auditors, data analysis, financial managers, business administrators, and even doctors to identify, report, and correct the issues at hand. Most of these careers have logisticians working alone, which is usually their preference, but when teams are necessary, they are best defined by clearly outlined roles, responsibilities, and work environments. Nothing is quite so challenging for logisticians as ongoing debates about who is responsible for what, resulting in work that is shoddily assembled or worse, incomplete. Logisticians have strong opinions about how things should be done, and if things are shuffled too often, people with this personality type can become surprisingly vocal about their opposition. It's important for logisticians to remember that even the most traditional and stable career paths can and need to change as time goes by, something I understand well versed. It is much better to accept this with grace than to develop reputations of being enemies of new ideas. The backbone of society, logisticians may also struggle with the increasingly open and social requirements of modern working life, being somewhat bad at sensing others' feelings. Logisticians hold on a second, I already messed up there anyway, but being somewhat bad at sensing others' feelings. Yeah, that is something I struggle with. But the thing about that is that I mentioned maybe before that I tend to choose my words very carefully. So even though I may be very bad at sensing other people's feelings, I could at least keep it the same and avoid from it being better or worse in their case. Just the facts attitude can be downright alienating when it comes to more sensitive personality types. This applies not just to coworkers but to customers as well. Service positions like retail sales and waiting tables, as well as emotionally demanding careers such as psychiatry, are generally speaking a terrible fit. I'm in big trouble then for those things. The ideal career paths feature a trend. They place facts above feelings and allow logisticians to uphold the high standards that are the backbone of society. Rules are the basis for everything people take for granted about modern life, from the social contract that smooths relationships to the laws that protect people's most basic safety to the constitutions and treaties that govern nations. People with the logistician personality type take on roles as defenders of these ideas in big ways and small, and are rightfully proud of it. Workplace habits. I'm currently not employed, but I don't think it'll be very incorrect here. So, when it comes to the workplace, logisticians are also almost a stereotype for the classic hardworking, dutiful employee, aka the Japanese. Which I'm not, but I have adopted Japanese lifestyle and culture somewhat. Still exploring that. In all positions, the logistician personality type seeks structure, clearly defined rules, and respect for authority and hierarchy. Responsibilities aren't burdens to logisticians, they are the trust that has been placed in them, and opportunity to prove once again that they are the right person for a job. On the other hand, the change that comes with assuming those new responsibilities or in losing old ones is often a significant struggle for logisticians. This presents itself differently in different positions of authority, but it is one of the logisticians' most significant challenges to overcome, the usual insensitivity common to all thinking T types. So let's see, thinking. All right, so that's my side. Is also a running theme here. Something many people with the logistician personality type choose to focus on in their personal and professional development. Logistician subordinates. Logisticians crave responsibility, which makes them the go-to subordinates for odds and ends and unpopular projects. Often seen as jack of all trades, logistician personalities can competently tackle any project that comes with a manual. On the other hand, this makes them reluctant to give up responsibilities even when they are overburdened or when there are better people for the job. I would be reluctant as well. The seriousness in logisticians' approach to their work makes them surprisingly sensitive to criticism, leading to a sometimes vexing level of inflexibility. I can't not laugh, but it's also so true which is making me laugh about it. Their stubbornness aside, or perhaps because of it, logisticians are quite possibly one of the most productive subordinates. They respect authority and hierarchy and have no problem following orders and instructions. Punctuality is unlikely to ever be an issue, either in terms of showing up to work on time or in terms of meeting project deadlines. While logisticians may meet clearly set steps, and well-defined responsibilities, they are exceptionally loyal, dedicated, meticulous, and patient in completing their work. Logistician colleagues. Among colleagues, no one can be trusted more to ensure that projects are finished on time and by the book than logisticians. Quiet and methodical, people with the logistician personality type keep cool when going gets tough, but expects their colleagues to share their approach. Significantly different types, especially more emotional ones, baffle logisticians with their need for emotional support and openness, for capacity for dropping something half-finished. To logisticians, either something's been done right or it's been done wrong, and sugarcoating it or walking away isn't going to fix it. Pretty common sense there. Logisticians value peace and security in the workplace, and the easiest way for this to happen is for them to simply work alone. Innovations, brainstorming, theories, and new ideas all disrupt this comfortable state, and it takes a great deal of respect on logisticians' part to acknowledge their validity. Once the details have been laid out and a plan of implementation established through, logisticians are an indispensable part of the team in putting these ideas into practice. Logistician managers. Logisticians love responsibility and the power resulting from it. Pressing themselves hard to meet their obligations, logisticians regularly go above and beyond their duties and expect their subordinates to act with the same level of dedication. Yeah. If I'm generally done with something, and let's say it's a teamwork thing, I will be that type of person to do more when it's necessary. This is difficult sometimes, let's say in school, mainly in lower grade levels, because teachers tend to want everyone to participate at a similar quantity. But if that is not in the problem, then this is what I would do if there weren't regulations. At the same time, logisticians' preference for doing things by the book, adherence to hierarchy, and general aversion to innovation makes their subordinates ride a very thin line. When they do, stepping out of bounds must be backed up with just the facts and results. It is said that it is better to do first and ask permission later. It's difficult to say whether this applies to logisticians, as they are very intolerant of their subordinates failures to meet their obligations, and one of their obligations is to stick to the plan, believing that truth, at least as far as they see it, is more important than sensitivity. Logistician personalities are capable of laying down hard criticism, and their willingness to make tough decisions can make perceived insubordination the final trespass. Conclusion. Few personality types are as practical and dedicated as logisticians. Known for their reliability and hard work, logisticians are good at creating and maintaining a secure, stable environment for themselves and their loved ones. Logisticians' dedication is invaluable in many areas, including their own personal growth. Yet, logisticians can be easily tripped up in areas where their practical and methodical approach are more of a liability than an asset. Yeah. Liability is very important to me. So, that is... yeah, it's something for me to be worried about, the liability aspect. Whether it is finding or keeping a partner, learning to relax or improvise, reaching dazzling heights on the career ladder, or managing their workload, logisticians need to put in conscious effort to develop their weaker traits and additional skills. What you have read so far is just an introduction into the complex concept that is the logistician personality type. Yeah, I tend to overcomplicate many things. So the complex concept definitely fits my mindset. I definitely tend to overcomplicate anything that I encounter. And the reasoning behind that is it's better to in my opinion, that is, it's better to overcomplicate something than to have little to less of that and not complicate it at all. So it's, to me, better to play it safe than sorry. So you may have muttered to yourself, "Wow, this is so accurate, it's a little creepy," or "Finally, someone understands me." You may have even asked, how did they know more about me than the people I'm closest to? Well, you guys asked those statements and questions, and I answered it truthfully, so this is not a trick. You felt understood because you were. We've studied how logisticians think and what they need to reach their full potential, and no, we did not spy on you. Many of the challenges you've faced and will face in the future have been overcome by other logisticians, which is comforting. You simply need to learn how they succeeded. But in order to do that, you need to have a plan, a personal roadmap. The best car in the world will not take you to the right place if you do not know where you want to go. We have told you how logisticians tend to behave in certain circumstances and what their key strengths and weaknesses are. Now we need to go much deeper into your personality type and answer why, how, and what if. This knowledge is only the beginning of a lifelong journey. Are you ready to learn what logisticians act in the way they do? What motivates and inspires you? What you are afraid of and what you secretly dream about? How you can unlock your true exceptional potential. Our premium profile provides a roadmap towards happier, more successful, and more versatile you. They are not for everyone, though. You need to be willing and able to challenge yourself. Oh, I live for those challenges, because without challenges, life is boring. To go beyond the obvious, to imagine and follow your own path instead of just going with the flow. If you want to take the reins into your own hands, we are here to help you. Let's see what happens if we click this. Wow, this is so long. Oh, okay. It's not that long. Okay, so I think at this point, this is where I'm going to end the video. So, let's go back to my results. I'll read about the premium profile at a different time, probably after this recording. So, nothing's changed so far. So I'm a assertive logistician. I have the same code, ISTJ-A. I also had ISTJ-A a year ago. Same role, sentinel, and same strategy of confident individualism. So these four are all the same. Yeah. So percentages, just to recap. Introverted, 63 to 61%. Observant, 62% to 51%. Thinking, 57% to 66%. Judging, 81% to 74%. And assertive, 63% to 51%. Okay. So the last thing, we're going to read all of this. So we'll start back at the top. So you're mostly introverted. Introverted individuals prefer solitary activities and get exhausted by social interaction. They tend to be quite sensitive to external stimulation, e.g., sound, sight, smell in general. You're mostly observant. Observant individuals are highly practical, pragmatic, and down to earth. They tend to have strong habits and focus on what is happening or has already happened. You're mostly thinking. Thinking individuals focus on objectivity and rationality, prioritizing logic over emotions. They tend to hide their feelings and see efficiency as more important than cooperation. I do tend to hide my feelings, as I already mentioned. You're mostly judging. Judging individuals are decisive, thorough, and highly organized. They value clarity, predictability, and closure, preferring structure and planning to spontaneity. You're mostly assertive. Well, I don't know about mostly if we look at the half and half. Assertive individuals are self-assured, even-tempered, and resistant to stress. They refuse to worry too much and do not push themselves too hard when it comes to achieving goals. And that was it. ISTJ, Sentinel, Logistician, Confident Individualism. That was this. This was very fun. It was a long video, but I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully you got to know me a little bit better from 1 year ago. If you have not yet seen the 16 Personalities quiz that I took on 2020, November 21st, there will be a video of it after this, so just click on it, or you could have a look in the description, and it will be there as well, the link to the video. That was it for this video of 16 personalities. The next 16 personalities quiz will be done on or close to a year from now. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, share, and comment down below if you've taken the 16 personalities test. Let me know what your letters are. For example, ISTJ. And let's just talk about our personalities, because our personalities are what is going to unite the world. Thanks for watching.